Yay! I think it works. It's working for my Zoom today. I'm very happy about this because the last two times it didn't work. And this time, no problem. I should be live now from my Zoom. Let's just see here. Um, just making sure. And I see one eyeball, two eyeballs. Perfect. I see Vicky, Jackie, and it says three other people have joined me. Please drop your name below so I know you're with me. Um, Going live on gut health. I see Wendy just is jumped in as well. On here. Okay, awesome. I see some thumbs up. People can see me. Awesome. I see Sandy, Tina. Yes, I see Wendy just popped her name in. Awesome. Okay, we are going live a little bit earlier today just because I have other commitments, but 4:30 my time is 6:30 for you in the Eastern time zone. So you're probably happy that I'm going a little bit earlier, but the Pacific time zones are probably still working because it's only 3:30 for them. So I know there will be lots of replays, but lots of people joining me right now. I'm very happy to see. I see Malachi, Jackie, Sandy, Janet, awesome. Jackie, Dawn, thank you for putting your names there. Rita from Boston. I love it. Thank you, Jennifer. You're so sweet. Martha jumped in. Awesome. Norma jumped in. Awesome. Okay, so let's dive into today's topic. This is live number 135, 10 surprising things you didn't know about better gut health. So like I always say, there's going to be some things where you might already know, or some things that if you've watched a lot of my previous Get Lives, you may kind of already have an idea. But there's going to be some things I think sometimes it's like, yeah, no, I didn't know that, or I didn't think about that. I think there should be something in here for everyone. Okay. And so if you are just joining me here or on YouTube, welcome to the Fierce Woman community where we sculpt powerful bodies and champion mindsets. If you're a woman and you're 40 and above, you should join this community. If you're a guy watching it, unfortunately you can't join this community, but you can watch me on YouTube, so that's good. And so I'm going to jump into some wins here and then we'll dive into the topic. Okay, so first of all, please give Shannon McNally a huge shout out and hearts. She just joined the transformation program, I think on Monday. I could have the day wrong, but she's just joined the transformation program. She is local Albertan, so she lives in the same province as me. So really, if she wants to see me, she can drive a few hours to see me, which is super cool. And super proud of you, Shannon, because she mentioned, growing, being a mom, as every mom understands, she's always put everybody else before herself. And finally, this is the time for her. And she really wants to truly understand how to take care of herself, build muscles, understand nutrition. So super proud of you, Shannon. Hi, Wanda. Good to see you. Thanks for the hearts. And then we're going to give a shout out actually to all the FFF ladies. Wanda is one of them. I think I saw Sandy on here as well. So just like a quick note, because they just started their first week. So from last week, just 1 week of the program, Natalie, you were on it. She lost 15.97 inches from her body with 4.1 inches from her waist. I was like, that's amazing. Sandy lost 6.04 inches. Wanda, you also lost 6 inches. And I know Anne she sneaked in the last minute to a program, so we're still getting some of her metrics, but really good results in just a week of the program, which is awesome. Also, wanted to give a shout out to Pamela in the transformation program. She's in her week 3 and she's lost 9.5 inches and super proud of her. I know major lifestyle changes in her nutrition. We've been working a lot on that. And as well as shout out to Stacy Carpenter in the transformation program. So get this. Now, Stacy, I texted you just an hour or two ago and said, did you know you lost this much inch So Stacy is in week 7 of her program, and she's lost a total of 44 inches total. And this past week she lost another 5 inches. So super proud of you, Stacy and Pamela. And we have a lot of new transformation clients coming on board, and I'm super excited to see where this goes as well. So thank you for cheering on the ladies. Yes, Jennifer, you're the best cheerleader for sure. I see Trisha, Jennifer, Mesha, jumped in. Hi, Jennifer. I just see the hello, Clarice. I love it. So just before I dive into the topic here, as some of you know, but not everybody sees her posts. It's kind of why I say this, okay? Because we've talked to plenty of women in the messenger. It's like, oh, you have this program going on, or this challenge going on, or we've been posting this for like the past week. You didn't get it? So it's out of wanting to make sure you guys know, okay? Today and tomorrow is the last day you're going to get the 10% discount for the 21-day anti-inflammation system. The 21-day anti-inflammation system is geared specifically to help you reduce inflammation and learn about how to reset your gut health, have your gut for women, which is to reduce inflammation. Because if you don't reduce inflammation, many things are not going to work in your body and your hormone balance is off. So this is the program that actually kind of targets the first level. Now, it doesn't target 5 levels past that, okay? People in my transformation program, in the FF program, those are the ones that are getting the full coaching through it. But the 21-day, if it's like, you're struggling with inflammation, you don't know enough about nutrition, you want to understand how you need to go shop for food, because I know Sandy, you did the 21-day, Wanda, you did the 21-day, there's homework in there that makes you learn the food and then go to the grocery store and understand what you need to shop for and things like that. So if you want to learn more about it and you want the 10% discount code, put 10% below, because it's going to cut off tomorrow and then you can't use the 10% code anymore. Okay. And those of you who said you were interested, but you have not clicked the link, I'm sorry, if after Thursday you forgot to enter it, it is not going to apply anymore. I know people have been asking about the 10% code. It will not apply after Thursday. So hopefully you guys don't procrastinate, okay? So put 10% if you want to learn more about the program and get 10% code. Yeah, Wanda, wow, go Stacy. Yeah, pretty awesome. Hi, Janet. Hi, Denise. Thanks for popping in. Okay, so let's start with, so these are the 10 surprising things you didn't know about better gut health. So number 1, you might know this. I said this in a couple of my lives ago, but I still think it's cool. Okay, so number 1, your gut bacteria outnumbers human cells. So the human gut is home to trillions of bacteria, and collectively all of those bacteria together weigh about 2 kilograms or 4.4 pounds. Okay, so that's crazy. That's a lot of bacteria in your gut system when you think about it. And the gut bacteria has 10 times more and greater the total number of human cells, okay? 10 times more than the human cells in your body, okay? So this first crazy fact and whatnot is to give you an idea why your health of your gut should be one of your top priorities. If you truly want to have good body, physique, good health, good digestion, metabolism, mood, how you want to what do you say, prevent yourself from aging too fast, even sex drive, all of this stuff comes largely from your gut, which is crazy. So I think the first thing I want you guys to understand is, if you don't pay attention and learn the things you need to about your gut, it is going to affect everything in your life. Okay, so that's the Ferb and Melba. Awesome. So let's dive into number 2 now. Different points on here. Some are short, some are long. Some of my points have gazillion of points in there. So we're going to get into some that have larger points here. So the second thing is understanding the gut is a second brain. Okay. I spoke about this from my last live, that the gut contains very complex network of neurons, neurotransmitters, proteins, and it almost functions like a separate ecosystem. Okay. Your gut is almost like a separate ecosystem, and it sends signals within the gut for things like hormones and just like different signals within the body. It can function actually independently from the brain. Okay, meaning if it's kind of weird, but if you think about it, the brain wasn't involved, your whole ecosystem in your gut would still be there, would still be operating. So this is again something to think about. Like there's a lot of complex things, and a lot of the imbalances that you experience in your body largely starts from the gut, right? But it's to understand. So I said it's a second brain because I want to talk about this whole brain thing. So there is a very crucial gut brain axis. And if you have followed me for my last few lives, you'll know that. So the gut brain axis is connected by the vagus nerve. It's a bidirectional, meaning they talk to each other, right? They actually talk to each other. There's certain signals they'll send to each other. But what this does mean is that your health of your gut actually will communicate things like as I talk about, inflammation, crappy foods, malabsorption, not having well-balanced like foods and nutrition in your gut to your brain. So your brain can actually sense a lot of the systems imbalance coming from your gut. And this is actually connected a lot to your mood. So we talk specifically about this gut-brain axis. Your brain, a lot of your mood and how you feel, whether you're happy, sad, and mental health things like depression and anxiety has been connected with your gut. And so if you are depressed, if you are anxious, if you have like really fluctuating moods, even for those of you in menopause, mental clarity issues, which we call brain fog, a lot of that comes from improper gut health without you knowing it, right? Some of my own clients, you didn't know how badly you ate until you did my program, like the 21 day, or those of you in the FFF, or Michelle Carson, who's my new transformation client. She's asking questions in the private group because I sent her a 20-minute video of all the analysis of her food log last week. And last week, Michelle, or this week? Anyway, she just went like eyes wide open. Like she could not believe the things I was telling her when I analyzed through her food log. And so like one of the things is like, if you have any mood disorders, or not, I wouldn't say disorders, but just like you fluctuate a lot, you're always cranky, you're not in a good mood, you have poor energy, or you some people struggle with depression, anxiety. I'm not saying this is the only reason. However, research has shown there is a massive connection between how you eat and how you mentally feel and the mental clarity in your brain. So I'm actually curious, for those of you who are watching, who here struggles with brain fog? Put up your hand if you struggle with brain fog. So brain fog is the lack of clarity when you are thinking, or you're thinking like a lot slower, or you have a train of thought and you start to lose that train of thought. Who here struggles with brain fog or lack of energy? Okay, Jennifer. So make sure you put brain fog again. The reason is like when we go back, it's hard for us to know what you're. If you say brain fog, we know you're answering brain fog. So, so Jennifer, you struggle with brain fog. Oh, Wanda, you didn't know. Wanda, I think this was in the 21-day program. We talked in the course. Do you remember? But maybe it's a good review anyways. So Sandy said, one side effect I had from the 21-day anti-inflammation program was that I was happier. I discovered that before I knew about the mind-gut axis. Yes, 100%. So let me tell you, if you are not feeling great, your mood is all over, it largely starts in your gut. Of course, there could be other factors, but even how fast you recover from some like maybe traumatic event, or like some sad things in life, we know that as you age, what's going to happen? Probably people around you who are aging will potentially, get sick or pass away. It is the reality of getting older. But how fast you recover from that comes from how you eat. Isn't that crazy? It is actually crazy. Like, meaning if you ate healthier, you could potentially heal faster and actually get on with kind of your regular day better than if you didn't, right? It didn't eat well. Yeah, Jennifer, thank you. Brain fog, exactly. I see Regina jumped in, Lori and Linda jumped in. So if you have brain fog or maybe even lack of energy or very moody, I want you to put that brain fog or lack of energy or very moody, because I want you to make that connection. Okay. So that's number 2. Number 3 is, I don't know if this is necessarily super surprising, but I think it's important to talk about, is that everyone's gut microbiome is unique, meaning it's a fingerprint. Okay. My gut biome will not look like yours. Your gut biome will not look like mine. Okay. And also, obviously, people who live in different countries and things like that have very different gut microbiomes than people who live here in Canada, in the US, right? So yes, it is impacted by environment, how you eat as you grew up, but genetics as well. But not one person's microbiome is actually the same. So this is something important to consider. And I bring this up because sometimes I know there's like food you love to eat. And I know currently we're coaching the FFF ladies and all of that, that you see some, influencers or really fit people eating it as well. And you just have to remember, like, just because they can eat it doesn't mean you can eat it, right? Like, you have to just be very careful about that, because, and as I get to further topics around menopause, there's things that you can't take that someone else can take. So when I am coaching, particularly this population of women, lack of energy as well, Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer, we'll reach out to you. Sounds like you definitely, there's something with your nutrition there. But when I'm coaching more menopausal women, there's more things you have to be particularly cautious of, more things you have to consider, but it's also like not absolutely like black and white, meaning sometimes some of my clients later on, I have them, be able to take back certain types of things that I know are super high inflammatory, because maybe their gut microbiome can take it. So the thing you want to take away is just be careful. You can see the fittest people in the world eating certain things, and does not mean you can eat it. And always evaluating that for yourself, right? Because everybody's fingerprint in their gut system is different, right? So that's another one to kind of keep in mind. Now, part of this, yes, Wanda, yes, I can think now. Awesome. Wanda, you have better clarity of thinking. Exactly. How do you know if you have a healthy gut? Now, there's many factors to this, but I'm only naming off 3 things as part of this. Is number 1, do you have a healthy gut is dependent on, do you have healthy, regular bowel movements? Okay. This can vary. Everybody's different depending on how much fiber you eat. But there's kind of like a general, okay, that anything from 2 times a day to every second day is okay, of bowel movements. Okay. Now, if you're going for like 4 or 5 days without going to the bathroom, then I would say, yeah, there's something going on. So let's look at that. Let's look at what's going on. You should be going regularly. You don't have to absolutely every single day. Every second day is fine. Okay. Or you can go multiple times a day, depending on, again, how much fiber you have. Okay. So you'll know you'll have a healthy gut with proper bowel movement. You have a healthy gut if you don't have gastrointestinal discomfort. Okay. So this is something I talked about in my post yesterday, is I don't have any gastrointestinal issues anymore. Like, I have it's like so freeing when your stomach doesn't hurt anymore. You just you're not gassy. You don't cramp over. You don't feel like food is stuck there. It's like this, just a very clean feeling in your gut. And I have to tell you, all of you listening, I didn't really understand what that felt like for a long time, because there's a difference between trying to diet or get skinny versus truly having healthy gut, right? There's people who try to diet, get skinny, they just don't eat. That doesn't mean you have a healthy gut, right? And so like just through my own experience and things like where I would be like double over in pain, or you can't go for multiple days, or you're like, like just the gastrointestinal issues or bloating, or you just like, you're like, I'm trying to eat healthy, but I'm bloated all the time. Who here feels that way? Like you're trying to eat healthy, but you're bloated all the time. Put bloating below, because that's the frustrating part, right? Is if you're like trying to eat healthy, but you're still bloated, it's very annoying. Who agrees with me here? If you're trying to eat healthy, but you still are getting bloated all the time, it's like, I'm trying to be healthy, but I don't feel great, or I'm bloated all the time. Um, so that would be another, like for all of you listening, that there's something going on with your gastrointestinal issues, and you have to be really careful around what you're putting in your mouth. Okay. And the third thing that you should look for in a healthy gut is, do you have this sense of well-being and stable mood, right? Stable. Yes, those Brussels sprouts, Jennifer. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. You like Brussels sprouts, don't you? I actually used to like Brussels sprouts. I don't like Brussels sprouts as much anymore. There's a story behind that, but I'll tell you one day on that. But yes, I used to really like Brussels sprouts. So the third thing is, do you have a stable mood and well-being, right? Like, do you have this, like, just a sense of calm, all of that, right? If you feel angsty, or even when I'll talk about later, like that craving or not satisfied, any of these things will indicate maybe there is something off with your gut, right? So and so this is kind of coming back to the unique gut microbiome. Okay, so this point is about the unique gut microbiome. I see some hearts from Oshone. As fit as Oshone is, she has struggled with bloating and all of that, right? Oshone, I know you're on here because I coached her in another program online. She did the muscle accelerator, where she came back and she was bloated. Do you remember that, Oshone? So yeah, like even really fit and jacked people have gastrointestinal issues. So so sorry, coming back to the point of the unique microbiome, okay? Why I'm bringing up what is constituted as healthy gut is because what's healthy for you is different for someone else. Their microbiome is different. But how can you tell if you have a healthy gut system? Is if you have regular bowel movement, if you don't have gastrointestinal issues, and you have a stable mood and well-being. Okay, so let me ask you, the ones who are watching, who here struggles with gas or bloating? Put your hands up, or put gas or bloating below if you struggle with that, because that will tell you something is off. Okay, so any of the 14 eyeballs, any gas, any bloating. Now there are quite a few of my clients on here, so if you're starting to clean up all your food, then you may not have that anymore, which is great, So I see Yvonne jumped in, Kathy Anderson jumped in, Maria jumped in, Danielle was in the FFF before, so awesome, great to see you. So like I said, if you can put gas or bloating below, if you are struggling with that, it will help you identify, like, how do you know whether you're healthy in your gut or not, right? I mean, the other thing was, in terms of like, is there a certain number of micro of like the the bacteria strains in your gut? The problem with that is because everybody's bacterial strains are so different. There isn't a straight answer for that. So you can't be like, can I actually like know exactly the number of strains I need to have in my gut? Like, it doesn't totally work like that. So that's kind of why I gave you those things to evaluate. Are you healthy in your gut or not? Oshone says, true, I was tired of the uncomfortable feeling. Yeah, you were bloated. But then afterwards you could see that stomach coming down, right? You're not overweight, Oshone, or whatnot, just that your stomach was just a little bit distended, right? So that's number 3. Okay, let's dive into number 4. Okay, so I'm surprised nobody is actually gassy or bloated on here. You guys are just not typing in there. Put gas or bloated if you are actually gassy or bloated in there. I can't be the only one, let's just say, and Oshone can't be the only one. So number 4. So we're going to talk about gut and the immune system connection. Okay, so the gut is as you know, you might have heard this, 70% of the immune system sits within your gut. And this is because, you know, a significant portion of your body's immune cells, they are activated in the gastrointestinal tract, right? So they are there in that tract to defend against like pathogens and foreign invaders. And so how you eat will affect your immune system. And in some ways, I talk about this. If your immune system is activated, so like there's a lot of stress in your gut, and your body thinks it's under attack. Oh, Debbie says she's bloated. Yes. I'm sure I can't be the only one. That's why I was joking around. I was like, the bloating is such a big issue for women. And so thank you for contributing. Jennifer says, if I eat something, say at a restaurant, sometimes I have gas and bloating. Yeah. Yeah. Once you eat super clean, you can actually really pick up really fast if something causes you bloating. So the key is to clean it up so you actually almost know better what causes your gut bloating situation, right? So yes, thank you for contributing there. So in terms of the immune system, if you get sick often, that could be a sign to you that your gut health is off. Sometimes it's very easy to be like, oh, I got sick because I got around this person or my work environment. You know, this is why I got sick. I was in an environment, a big stadium of like 15,000 people. Of course, I'm going to get sick, right? So before you actually, you know, say it's something outside in your environment, I want you to point the finger back to yourself. And this is kind of that surprising part of it, is like, it, you know, there's things all around you that's going to make you sick all the time. Trust me, all the time, everywhere. Okay. But is it something within your own gut system that is causing you to get sick more, especially if you have imbalance in your gut, you have inflammation in your gut? I think that was what I was trying to say before I kind of diverted my attention, is if your inflammation in your gut is there, you're going to cause the system to go into kind of immuno responses, right? Immunoresponses are going to activate like stress response, cortisol, the red alarm goes off. And as you watch from my last slide, was it, or the live before, when cortisol is high, you shut off a lot of regular functioning of your body for uptake of proper nutrition. It puts more fat into your belly. It shuts off your sex drive. It shuts off your estrogen and your testosterone productions. So you're talking about immune system, not only getting sick, but the cascade effect of not having good, healthy gut can cause you many of these problems, right? And if you're going to ask me, but Clarice, how do I know if I have healthy gut? I just said it in the point above. So if you missed that, you know whether you have a healthy gut based on some of those things from above. Okay. So I guess for some of you that are listening, do you get sick often? Here's the thing. If you get sick often, put you're maybe getting sick often, like put the word sick. Or do you believe you have inflammation in your system? Now, how do you know if you have inflammation in your system? It's, again, I will say, like, if you have gas, you have bloating, poor digestion, don't go regularly, you have belly fat, those are all signs you have inflammation, okay? And aches and pains in the body as well. So if you feel like you have inflammation, I want you to put inflammation below, because inflammation is not just, I can almost be bold to say, because your gut controls so much of it, that large part of your inflammation arises out of the gut, right? So if you can't control what happens within the gut, then all the inflammatory responses is going to be impacted. Of course, if you cut yourself, or there's external things that can impact inflammation as well, but it will be largely inflammation rises out of your gut system. Okay. So Oshone says not often, maybe once or twice a year. Yeah. So yeah, for being bloated, right? Oshone, you're saying? Yeah. And one thing I'll say, like, is as women, do we sometimes get tiny bit bloated right before our menstrual cycle? Some of you don't have your cycle anymore. Yes, that's normal. That is actually a hormonal fluctuation. But I'm talking about like really bad bloating, really bad indigestion, or, constipation, or you just know, like, you almost know things are backed up in your system. It's like kind of a gross thought, but you kind of know it is. It's like those major things is like uncomfortable. You're not comfortable in your clothes. You don't want to go work out as much. Like nobody likes like gut issues, right? And so when you can learn how to like really take care of your gut, have really like clean system, flat stomach, it just makes a world of difference, right? Also for being sick. Yeah. And Jennifer, you say you have a bit of inflammation. Now those should be much better, right? Now through the program should be much better. So yes, so this fourth point is the gut and immune system connection. So really observing, are you getting sick often, and how you're feeling, especially going into the winter months. A lot of people will say, oh, I'm getting sick again. Actually, a few of you, I'm not gonna name names here. Always tell me you're sick. Like you tell me you're sick a lot. And I think that's something you want to really be cautious of in your brain, is why are you always sick, right? Like it isn't just about just like, oh, it's the winter months or it's getting cold. There's a lot of other reasons. I'm going to say one of the biggest things is watch what you eat and your gut health. Is it healthy, right? So hi, Emily. Thanks for jumping in. Awesome. So let's dive to number 5. So number 5 is gut micro, like your gut microorganism and weight regulation. Now, the connection between the two is very, very intense in the sense of, if you have weight issues, how healthy your gut is impacting your ability to regulate your weight or have proper weight loss, and even proper fat loss. Okay. So this is very important to keep in mind, because sometimes we keep thinking about losing weight or losing fat in our body, but like we know nutrition is important, but we also aren't fully connecting the dots that the health of your gut is really crucial. So is your current gut health proper? And what I'll tell you is, if you have dieted a lot and yo-yo dieted a lot, or you went through a stint, like some people go through stints, they're really healthy, then they fall off, then they eat lots of takeout food or processed food or fast foods. All of that's going to alter your gut biome, right? It's going to alter that, like the colonies within your gut. And so it's like, before you try to go on like, oh, I want to like lose weight again, how are you going to fix the things within your gut microbiome, right? Definitely learning what are the right foods is one. Learning what inflames your body is another. Sometimes you do need to do a reset point for yourself. And that can come through, like I have quite a few times, my free challenges where you're kind of like doing a cleanse and kind of a anti-bloat challenge, those types of things can do a reset. Sometimes certain teas, certain like, detox drinks can help with that. So there's different ways you can reset it. And then of course there could be probiotics that can help you reset some of your microbiomes as well. So it's really thinking of like, does my gut currently function well, right? And yes, sorry. Oshoni said that works snacks. I'm not sure what you mean. I see Jody jumped in and Kamiko jumped in. Awesome. So with this same idea of weight regulation, okay? So why does it impact weight regulation is to understand that your microbiomes sends neurotransmitter and signals to the brain, and it influences hormones. And the 3 hormones it really impacts in your gut is ghrelin, leptin, and serotonin. Okay. So I talk a lot about ghrelin and leptin because they are your hunger signals, right? Hunger, how full you feel signals. Ghrelin is the grr, I always say, it's like grr, I'm hungry. Oshone knows I can get that way if I'm hungry. The grr when you're hungry. So the ghrelin is when you're hungry. is a hormone that's produced that says I need food, right? So that is mainly produced in your gastrointestinal tract. And leptin is more produced by your fat cells, but leptin is how full you feel. Sometimes it can be a little bit parts within your gut system. It's actually a little bit more in your belly fat area. So, but let's not get too scientific there. So ghrelin and leptin largely in your digestive tract. And did you know serotonin, which is that feel-good hormone, is largely in your digestive tract as well? So I want you guys to rethink this, because we may think ghrelin and leptin, yeah, yours get really loud. If I'm really hungry, my stomach will tell you, that's for sure. But yeah, so if you have thought that ghrelin, leptin, serotonin, these neurotransmitters come mainly from the brain, I want you to rethink that. It can come partially from the brain because it is a gut-brain axis, and you have a first brain and a second brain, as I mentioned earlier in my live, right? So they both produce it, but actually the larger quantity comes from your gut. So that may be the surprising thing you didn't know. So what does that actually mean? Is that if you start to imbalance your eating, and I'm gonna talk about this a little bit. I talk a lot about macro balances and balancing your meals a certain way, because if you don't know how to balance your meal a certain way, you will throw the signals off potentially. For example, I know a lot of clients, I've looked at their logs where you just have like just carbs, like that's a meal, right? And what does that do? That's gonna imbalance some hormonal signals right there, right? So if you don't know how to balance it well, and you maybe have lots of processed foods and things like that, then your ghrelin is gonna malfunction and almost signal incorrectly, and your ghrelin leptin will not have the right balance. So this is where you could potentially gain weight. You might eat more than you should. You might not know when you're full and when cravings come about, right? So this again impacts people's weight gain, right? So how many of you are struggling with excess weight here? So if you're struggling with excess weight, I want you to put excess weight below. Like if you're trying to lose weight or fat percentage in your body, put that below. Put like weight or losing fat, because it can come from this imbalance of situation in your body. And the cravings part of it is really important to address, because serotonin is what makes you feel good, right? So if you ever have felt like, oh, like I feel crappy, I just want to grab a bucket of ice cream, or I feel crappy, I just want to grab that bag of chips, or yes, Wanda has excess weight to want to lose, and Janet, you want to lose fat as well. Exactly. So it's like, if you know you have excess weight to lose, going back to this, like serotonin is, if you ever like in that mood where you're like, oh, I don't feel good, I want to eat, that is coming from serotonin, right? Like it wants you to feel better, so it wants you to feed it certain things so you can secrete serotonin in your body, right? But why I bring this up is, this is why you need to have very structured systems in your eating, meaning you need to understand what you're eating, because you can't rely on feelings, right? Feelings are sometimes deceptive. How you feel, I feel like this, I feel like that. And that's when you go off track, you eat what you want, because your serotonin signals in your gut wants you to have that bucket of ice cream, okay? And so a lot of signal and hormonal signals are coming from your stomach telling you to want it, but it's actually what I call false alarms. False alarms come from improper understanding of your nutrition and improper balance of your nutrition and macros, improper understanding of what inflames your body. And then all of these things together messes the hormone signals in your gut. And this is kind of one of the main things I want you to get across in number 5 is if you have trouble losing weight and you're stuck or plateaued, or you have like just it's like stubborn, it's not moving. This has a lot to do with your gut health and what you need to learn how to control that. So if you want to learn more about like macros, inflammatory markers, put those below, macros, inflammatory markers, because I do think that those are huge components of helping to heal your gut in the right way, right? Macros, inflammatory markers. Hi, Angela. Good to see you. You popped on in, and Tony as well, and Judy as well. And Dina as well jumped in as well. Awesome. So put it below if you feel like you want to learn more macros or inflammatory markers, because this will really help stabilize your gut. I think a lot of what I teach is to teach you how to stabilize the signals within your gut system. And so understanding that connection is really important. Okay, so number 6. So if you guys are typing responses, I see some, but like I said before, I've gone back to look and there were like more responses than I can see. Sometimes it's maybe I don't see your responses. So I do see Oshone's, I see yours, Wanda, and I see yours, Jennifer, as well, and yours, Janet, as well. So awesome. So number 6. So number 6 is about your gut health and skin axis. Okay. Just like there is a gut brain axis, there's a gut skin axis. Okay. So a lot of this complexity of your gut and the inflammation in your system will kind of come out in your skin. So if you have any skin conditions like acne, eczema, psoriasis, things like that, that can indicate something that may start. It's not just the skin, but it could be something that's starting from your gut. And this is a short point, but I just want to say, like, if you have skin conditions or you have trouble with, even actually, I'm going to mention this, cellulite and kind of the appearance of your skin is connected to your gut health. Now, it's not the only thing. And we know there's loose skin because you've maybe been overweight and it's been stretched, or maybe having kids a little bit. That's not the only thing, but the appearance of your skin, like the tone of your skin, comes largely from the health of your gut and that system. When I fix people's inflammation responses in their system, their skin clears up. They have brighter looking skin, smoother looking skin, and cellulite actually improves in appearance as well. Cellulite is partially genetic because of the way your cells naturally align. If they don't align the same, like if genetically they don't align the same, you can genetically have certain cellulite conditions. But if they do align well, but it's because you have inflammation in the skin and we fix that, I've seen a lot of the skin's appearances start to improve a lot as well. So I think this main point here is understanding if you have problems with your skin, things like that, also connect that with how healthy do you eat? How healthy is your body? Okay. Anybody have skin conditions here? Anybody 14 eyeballs watching have skin conditions? Put it below if you do. I'm kind of curious around that. Now, again, there's more things behind it, but I would say this is a big part of it. Okay. Do you have any skin conditions? I know one of my clients definitely has that, and that has improved since we've worked together, right? But she says since she was little, she's always had issues, but our work with food has greatly decreased that occurrence. May not completely eliminate 100% if it was like something genetic since she was a child, but it greatly improved it. So Sandy, so you do have skin conditions. Yeah. So I'm actually super curious, Sandy, as you go through FFF program, if that will actually improve, because as we work on it, I'm pretty sure that your skin condition will improve. And you have eczema, Wanda. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Wanda, based on the things that not just in FFF, but from 21 program, there was a lot with what you were eating. So I know that that will definitely start to improve. Rita says, I have a patch of psoriasis on one elbow. Okay, that's interesting. And how long did you have that psoriasis? So it means there's something going on, but it's only on one elbow, right? Not both elbows. Yeah. So, Okay, so that's number 7. Number 8. Okay. Oh, sorry, that was number 6. I'm jumping around here. Okay, so number 7. Number 7 is talking about your gut microbiome and your longevity. Okay, so like as we age, all of us know that we are aging. When you age, your cells stop responding as effectively. You have poor nutrition uptake. Your hormones start to imbalance. You have more what we call free radicals in your body. Okay, it is produced from like the natural aging process, being exposed to more toxins and environmental pollutants. Free radicals enter your body all the time, and what you want is you want healthy antioxidants to counteract that. Under molecular structure, they're kind of like big antioxidant guys that come in and like attach to these like free radicals and like gets them out. Like it's like a bodyguard, big bodyguards that come in and is like, hey, get you out of the system. So we want antioxidants. We want antioxidants to come from what a lot of healthy vegetables, a little bit of fruit. I'm not too big of a fruit fan, but like, but lots of like the fresh vegetables and all of that have a lot of antioxidants. And so antioxidants is actually what helps move free radicals out of your body. You need that, and your body has the ability to naturally regulate itself on this. But as you age, your ability to get rid of free radicals and inflammation in your system massively decreases. Okay. So this is why as you age, you're more likely to develop diseases and even potentially cancerous cells, right? Did you know people all have cancerous cells? Like, it's just how fast is it growing? And is your body getting rid of that at a proper rate, right? So why am I bringing this up? Okay, is that your gut microbiome has certain bacteria within it that has anti-aging effects and can actually help promote better antioxidant functions, better kind of bringing down inflammation system. But if you have an imbalance of your gut, you don't eat healthy, you imbalance it, which I'm going to talk about just briefly. A lot of people who have like love their sugar substitutes and different things like that, sugar alcohols, they do cause imbalances of your gut microbiome. So Sandy, Wanda, any of my other clients watching this, whenever I give you feedback on food and I said this imbalances your gut biome, I want you to know why I'm saying that. Okay, if you are largely imbalanced in your gut biome, you could take away really important anti-aging properties in your body. And let's be honest, right? We all want to live longer, healthy lives, not longer lives and be unhealthy and in a hospital and not able to move. We all want to live longer, healthy lives so where we can, enjoy the quality of life, right? So I just want to make sure that you guys understand the importance of knowing how to properly eat food. And if I give you sometimes some feedback on nutrition, as at the private group right now is asking us a lot of questions right now, is I rather you be on the safer side of taking down inflammation and making sure your gut bacteria is as healthy as possible than to risk it, and cause all these multiple inflammatory responses in your system, right? Yes, Wanda says right. And Wanda, I'm sure you'll see in the private group, I answered two clients questions about certain foods they were asking about. And as relating to this, it's like, you could risk it. You can risk whether you want to inflame the gut system, but do you want to risk it? I mean, there's so many important things that your gut microbiome has to remain stable, right? So, curious in terms of this number 7 point, how many of you understood the gut's relation to anti-aging? If you knew this, then say I knew it. If you say I didn't know it, just say I didn't know it. I'm actually curious if you knew that the gut impacted your anti-aging ability. So put it below. Okay. Awesome. Natalie, I see you jumped in. CJ, you jumped in. And Tammy Jenkins, you jumped in. Thank you for joining. Awesome. So let's jump to number 8. So number 8 is not necessarily new, okay? But again, I say certain things can surprise you, certain things may not. Jennifer, you knew that? Yeah, awesome. Wanda didn't know that. Oshone says, interested to hear more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, let's just say it this way, right? Like, isn't there a big correlation between people who eat really healthy, who take care of themselves, and they actually look younger? Isn't there a great correlation between this? So when you think about it, actually, it has massive impacts on how fast you age. So if you're aging very fast, consider what you're putting into your body, right? Consider that. Did not know gut anti-aging connection. Yeah, Sandy, so that's new for you as well. Exactly. So I see Caddy jumped in and Oksana jumped in. Awesome. Okay, so number 8. So we're going to talk about gut health and inflammation specifically. Now, I've referred to inflammation many times before. It's all connected, but I wanted a topic just on inflammation. Yeah, Janet says makes sense. Yeah, it definitely makes sense, but people don't make that connection, right? Like sometimes people are like, oh, I feel like I'm getting older or I'm aging or, I feel old. Like sometimes people say that to me, right? And it's like, well, why? Right? Like, why are you feeling this way? Let me look at your food log. Let me look at your food log because a lot of times I have many clients who have changed the way they're eating. Analyzing their food log, giving them, and they're like, I feel 20 years younger, or, like they literally feel like they're younger, right? So if you feel old or lethargic or somehow you're aging faster than you want, always consider starting with the gut. Okay. All right. Number 8, inflammation. Sorry, Jennifer, you said a lady at the gym told me last week that I was getting younger every time she sees me. Woohoo, Jennifer. I love hearing that. That's so awesome. Yes. I get that too. I get that. I look very young. And you guys are like, you are young, Clarice. Well, I'm not as young as you think. I just look young because you take care of yourself. So, all right. So gut health and inflammation. So inflammation in the gut is becoming a more prevalent concept in our society, or more prevalent epidemic, whatever you want to call it. Inflammation in the gut is like one of the biggest issues in our society right now, but people don't know it. Let me tell you why. So I saw a little post on my Facebook, and maybe some of you saw it too, because who knows, some of you are in this group. That's how I see posts on my feed. There was a little meme, or it was a little picture, and it says, people should be less concerned about counting calories and be more concerned about counting chemicals. Good one, right? Not for me. I saw on the feed. People should be less concerned about counting calories and more concerned about counting chemicals. So let me tell you, the situation with our society, and the Western society particularly, is because there's so many chemicals in our food, and not even your natural healthy foods that you think are natural sometimes is not as healthy too. We know that, right? What is it sprayed with? How is even like wheat processed? Like one of the answers I gave in the private group is about that. How is your oil processed? Like, yeah, it's natural. Wheat is natural too, kind of, right? From the grain farms, but how is it processed? Like it's like there's so many chemicals that is going through our system and our society these days. You're going to use that, Janet. Yeah. It was actually a picture. It was a quote. So it was really awesome. Maybe I think I have it. I think I love that picture. Maybe I'll put it in the group here. So, yes. And sorry, Oshoni says, I see it change from the inside out. And Clarice, thanks for sharing your secret to staying young. Yeah, that's right. I want to stay looking 20 something forever. So I know it won't, but I mean, just that. So it does help. They say, what does they say? Like Asians do have a very young kind of look. So, all right, so let's move on. So in terms of the inflammation of your gut, okay, that right now with all the processed foods, there is, there is a lot of preservatives, and additives that are added to food, largely because shelf life, right? If they didn't add it, then it would have mold or bacteria in it and you might die. So they'll put it in there. Sometimes it's not necessarily trying to be bad people, not necessarily. It's just like if they have to replace the product every month, they're going to lose money, right? And so they will put things that will make it last 6 months, sometimes even 2 years. And I said to Michelle Carson, Michelle, who's in the transformation program, they're putting stuff in there so that it lasts for 2 years or more. This is interesting, entering your gut system, right? What is it doing to your gut, right? So really starting to think about, okay, what chemicals are in this thing that I'm about to eat? Food sensitivities and allergies, like, so you may not be allergic to an ingredient, product, chemical, okay, because you would die, right? Allergic reactions create massive situations. You got to go into emergency. Most people are not going to have that unless they do really have a legitimate allergic reaction, but you may have an intolerance to it, but you don't know. So the intolerance, it will manifest itself in inflammation in your gut, or into potential leaky gut syndrome, or potentially into mood swings, breakouts, things like that. And so being super cautious of like things you're intolerant to, and you will become intolerant to different things as you age because your microbiome changes, okay? If you had any major illnesses in the past, and I know many people might have gotten COVID before. I had COVID, right? You guys remember 2 years ago, I was sick for like 2 weeks and couldn't come on the live. Yeah, like when you're sick for a little bit, it may impact your digestive gut system, right? And so, yes, Jennifer had sore thumbs. She was always sore. And then we finally figured out to get rid of one of those chemicals in her food and in a supplement that's supposed to be healthy for her. And no more sore thumbs, right? That was really eye-opening for you. So yes, but coming back to, like, if you've been sick or taking any medications, that can affect your microbiome. And because it's different, because your microbiome changes, it may not be able to handle certain foods that you used to, which is why they often say if you've been sick, do take probiotics after, especially if you're taking antibiotics and stuff like that. Another thing, a part of this is if you take too much, like painkiller things like ibuprofen, Advil, and all of us sometimes, if you have headaches and things like that, might take a little bit of it, but just being careful not to take it too much, because those also disrupt your actual like gut linings in your gut. And so being careful about that. And then as well as monitoring your stress. And you guys know this, I talk a lot about this, but your gut system and its inflammation response really is affected by cortisol, right? And the cortisol, being secreted by your body will impact inflammation response in your gut. It imbalances things like ghrelin and leptin, like we talked about earlier, and even more. There's neurotransmitters that happen within your gut lining that's really impacted by your stress. So this is why I said last week in the Mindset Live, if you missed my Mindset Live and you want to watch that Mindset Live, you can put Mindset below. But in that Mindset Live, I said most people think to be healthy, they should look at their nutrition or their workouts, but sometimes they forget the most important part sometimes is here, right? Is this mindset part of it. So stress and anxiety and the gut-brain axis, like we talked about, really can impact your inflammation response in your system, okay? So just remembering that. And obviously another part of gut inflammation for this, like number 8 point, is a lot of other lifestyle habits can impact inflammation, which could be, smoking. I know not everybody, but some people do smoke. So being careful about that, because that will mess your gut system up. Excessive alcohol. I have a few of my clients who do like alcohol, but you guys have been working on it. And so being careful, because alcohol consumption does mess up parts of your gut system. And sedentary lifestyles, lifestyle factors, environmental factors can all impact your inflammatory response of your gut, right? So Jennifer says mindset is everything. Exactly. Mindset is everything. So I actually want to ask all of you, because I went through, there's reasons why your gut is experiencing inflammation. What do you think is causing your inflammation. So what is causing your inflammation? I want you to put it below. So I had named off a few things. Is it because you are eating processed foods? One, you can say processed foods. You can say don't know the chemicals. You don't know which chemicals inflame your system. Maybe you don't know the chemicals. Maybe you have intolerances, you're not sure, but you kind of suspect you have intolerances. Maybe you have had bouts of sickness, and that just has really messed up your digestive system. Maybe it's you didn't know taking Advil or ibuprofen because you have headaches a lot affects your digestive system. I see people coming in with responses. Yes, I'll read those in a second. Or maybe you didn't know about stress. Yeah, exactly. Margaret says stress or cortisol causing the alteration of your gut microbiome. Or maybe yours is smoking or alcohol or sedentary lifestyle, right? Which one for you, all of you listening, identify what might be causing inflammation in your system. So Wanda says junk and processed foods. Yes. And Wanda, we're going to be helping you with that, right? Like already, I know that first class with Oshone, she's helping you with that. So definitely those things can cause the inflammation in the gut. Too much cardio. Seriously, maybe things I'm eating that I'm intolerant to, I'm eating clean. Yeah. She always makes this joke about cardio. It's so funny. But yes, but if it is too much cardio, but hers is not, she's joking. But like too much cardio could be stress, right? Like if you're running for over an hour, that might be a little bit much. But again, like you have to take it in strides. Like if I'm talking to maybe a marathon runner, which I believe they're Mary Turner. She was in my gym before, and I know she follows me. She's a marathon runner. And so it just depends. Like if you've been running your whole life and your body's like used to it, it could be fine. Like I want you guys to understand I'm not always totally against it, but in like majority of women, what I've seen is if you overdo cardio, it is very stressful for your body. So yeah, but you could be a really big athlete and have no problems with it too, because you've built your system up to being able to do it, right? But yeah, but coming back to Jennifer's point is she is eating clean, but there could be still some things maybe we're not catching. I'll give you an example, okay? So I believe like a lot of inflammation comes from weight. I have a lot of reasons behind that. My 21-day anti-inflammation course goes through and breaks down all the reasons why there is inflammation from things like that. However, a lot of times oatmeal is accepted because it is not have wheat in it. But what a lot of people may not recognize is that oat is often processed with wheat facilities, right? So it just depends on things. But for example, you may not know certain things you're eating could be triggering it. So being very cautious, being like just mindful, or having someone who's looking through the log to help you with it, or even learning the baseline of what causes all this inflammation, which is what the 21-day anti-inflammation course is about, will help you be more mindful of the type of foods you're eating, right? And what could be creating that intolerance or imbalance, right? Advil for shoulder pain. Oh, okay. Yeah, Kamiko, if you take Advil regularly, that could potentially impact your gut system, because that actually is like, that's been studied. So just be careful about taking too much for that. Sandy, sugar and cortisol. Yeah. And sugar, 100%. Every time I start, if I even have a little bit more sugar, it's like I can tell I'll have a breakout. And I'm like, hey, how come I have a breakout? I was like, okay, there was a sugar thing in that. Sugar is very highly, one of the most highly inflammatory markers in your system. So you can't tolerate oats at all. Yeah, Jennifer, exactly. And so I gave that example because actually a lot of people do agree with oats, and I'm not against oats, but in my 21-day anti-inflammation course, I talked about it too. I talked about why we got to be a little bit cautious about certain things, right? So just being aware of these is really important. And hopefully this is making you guys think, and to think about like what you're doing right now. Again, I'm going to say, if you are stalled, you have excess weight, you have belly fat, or some of the things I talked about above, like not regular bowel movement, indigestion, bloating, those are indications something is wrong, right? You can't just gloss over and be like, that's okay, like, and that's fine, right? Like something is wrong and you need to work on it, right? And it starts with your gut and understanding nutrition. And sugar, wheat, dairy, weaning myself off. Exactly right. So there's a lot of things that you're kind of working on. So let's talk about number 9. Number 9, Janet, I'm not sure what you mean by there. So yeah, you might want to tell me what you mean by that. Number 9. So let's talk about gut health and menopause. Pretty big one for all the women on here. Okay. So the reality is, does your gut health change in menopause? And the answer is 100%. It changes. This is why what used to work for you may not work now. You used to not have any issues with eating any foods, but you cannot just go ahead and eat any foods when you're in menopause, right? So this is something you have to now understand. That's why I'm very particular with menopausal women and what I specifically believe they should be very cautious of. And again, in the private group, you will see you guys are asking about proof things and different things. There's certain things I'm saying in there that is like a little bit more specific to your population, right? So why does menopause and gut health interact so closely? Number 1, during menopause, you have major hormonal changes, right? Your estrogen and your progesterone level drops, which influences the composition and diversity of your gut microbiome. And this change in gut microbiome actually impacts the way gut motility and digestive processes. So because of the hormone shifts, that makes sense, right? The hormone shifts the microbiome in your body. So being cautious that if suddenly you're starting to get more bloated, you're starting to get more indigestions as you move into menopausal phases, this could be a big, big reason, right? And this is why knowing your inflammatory markers is so crucial. Okay. And then, hi Sheila, I see you jumped in. Gastrointestinal like symptoms, like when you go through menopause, you're more likely to experience bloating, gas, because like we talked about, the hormones are shifting, but because it's just not is not able to process food as quickly as before. So you want to be careful about what you're inputting in your system. Maybe a good way of saying it is that junk accumulates faster in your system in menopause. And so if you're not good with understanding your food, or you're stress eating or doing certain things, unfortunately the junk accumulates faster, whereas for a younger kid, or for someone younger, they can get rid of it faster, but you can't get rid of it as fast. Okay, so this also then affects your metabolic rate as you hit into menopause. As I mentioned in another live, your metabolism starts to drop, and as it changes, this metabolism changes, it means it cannot burn as effectively the calories you're giving it. So it has poor nutrition uptake. So because of these like changes in metabolism, you have to be even more precise with your nutrition, right? Those of you who are being coached by me or in the program, that's why we're so particular with nutrition and so particular with like the way certain things needs to be done, because I would say that you almost have to become a nutrition expert in your menopausal years if you want to get through menopause very successfully, because of all the things that are changing in your system, your metabolism, the inflammation responses, the slower digestion, the changes in microbiome. And it's not all necessarily bad. It's just understanding it so that you can work with it, right? It's like this is the situation now, so this is how we're going to work with our bodies to ensure that we have the healthiest transition through menopause or post-menopause, right? So how many of you watching want to learn more about menopause gut health? Okay, if you want to learn more about menopause gut health, put that below, because I think that is a huge part of, a large part of what I teach is kind of in that realm of menopause gut health. I actually just took a new guy I'm coaching. So principles I do apply to him, but I give him a lot more leeway, just like I've coached other men as well. For example, like certain men, I allow them to have their wheys, their dairies and stuff like that, just because there's a different kind of signaling in their body. So you have to recognize like there is kind of like that point I talked about unique gut biome. Everybody's biome is unique. So there's differences in each person. What in the season of menopause, you have to be very, very particular, very cautious. And you have to kind of get into your mind. I know a lot of you are like, yeah, but I see this person eat this, or this person can do this. And I always say, yeah, are you considering the stage they're in? Or do they have a slightly different gut biome from you? Like, it's like you have to really take into account context, right? So if you want to learn more about that, then put menopause gut health. Okay. And so that's number 9. And then number 10, this last one here, and then we will wrap up. Okay. I just thought for number 10 to put some like interesting techniques for better digestion. Okay. These are just techniques. They're not necessarily, say, going to replace healthy nutritional principles, macro-based eating, identify inflammatory markers, having the proper balances of the calculations for your, right? So number 1, going for walks after you eat will aid in digestion, right? Making sure you move instead of sitting there after you eat is going to help with digestion. Sometimes doing abdominal massages, massaging your abs and whatnot can help with motility of your gut, especially if you have poor gut motility, which is common as women age and get into menopause. So massaging your gut can be helpful. Make sure you have proper hydration, which is not new, but a lot of people still don't drink enough water, and water is very crucial for proper gut functioning and movement of the things, so you're not constipated, right? So hydration is really important. And one more that people don't realize is posture. Okay, so posture, yeah, like this versus sitting like this in the couch, lying there, right? The better posture you have, and right now as I say it, I just know everybody's watching this that's like just went up 2 more inches, because whenever I talk about posture, everybody in the back of the screen is like, oh, she's talking about posture, right? I have good posture. Before I talked about posture, you were like this. So this is the thing I talk about. I'm just joking around with all of you because I've said this before, and some people had messaged me, how did you know I was not sitting right? I was like, now I know. So posture is really important for proper digestion. People don't know that. If you slouch, if you don't sit straight, you don't hold yourself core well throughout your day, you actually are going to have poor digestion because you're compressing your abdominal wall. Okay. Now, this tends to happen more so for people who have sedentary jobs. Okay. So if you have a sedentary job, you sit a lot, you will tend to compress in, and that's where you kind of could potentially affect your digestive system as well. Now, these are things to think about. Obviously, like if you have poor nutrition, you eat junk food, you don't pay attention to inflammatory markers, this still won't help totally, right? These are just like little techniques to help improve your digestion, right? So I see Nani jumped in, and Sherry said a walk after eating helps me relax better and a chance to spend quality time with my hubby. Yes, awesome. Yeah, and you go for lots of walks, Sherry, so that's really great. So yeah, so I guess just to wrap up everything, okay? So those are the 10 things that maybe you knew, some of you didn't know. I actually want to know from each one of you who are listening, out of the 10 things, what point kind of surprised you? I'm actually curious because for some, maybe it was the anti-aging. Maybe for some, it was the second brain or the gut brain axis, or, I'm curious, what was something that was like, oh, yeah, I never thought about it this way before, until Clarice spoke about it here. So with that being said, like I said, if you want to learn more about our 21-day anti-inflammation system, which is largely related to first teaching you what are inflammatory markers and how to identify them and understand the way you need to shop and everything. And then it is about how you need to then help your gut reset and get a better gut system. And then it goes through a 10-day gut reset kind of cleanse, I guess, challenge where you're going to get 10 different recipes to reset your gut health and all of that. So if you do want to learn more about that, then put 21 below. And like I said, 10% discount code is good till tomorrow, like evening, right? Until like midnight tomorrow. And then it cuts off. So if you want to learn more about 21, put 21 below. And then we start like not this Monday, but the Monday after. Then we start the whole program together as a group. And yeah, so I see that Janet said the brain. Yeah. The gut brain. Yeah. It being a second brain is very unique. Yeah. And then how much the gut bacteria weighs. Yeah. 4.4 pounds. That's crazy. Put all your gut bacteria together and it weighs 4.4 pounds, right? So awesome. I see Sarah jumped in as well. So if you guys are watching this on replay or on YouTube, like I said, if you have any questions, put it below, or you want to learn more about certain things, put it below. We do try to review through the comments to get back to you. And 21-day system is going to start in a week. So yeah, hopefully a lot of you will learn to take better care of your gut from there, and hopefully this added value to all of you. All right.